So talk about the market. What do you think about the market in 2026?
I think we're going to see a lot more optimism about the market. We've had now 10, 12, 15 years where every single year there's less inventory.
Right.
And then COVID hit, interest rates spiked in 2022. Interest rates went from high twos, low threes for almost everybody overnight to low fours, right? And that kind of stopped the market. That was March of 2022, almost completely stopped the market. And once you have people not able to buy, right, because of interest rates, then by the end of 2023, interest rates were closer to 6 or 7%. Which historically is not high, right? Like those interest rates are actually quite average or even on the low side. However, if you have people that have only been in the market for the last 5 years, then they're used to this idea of 3% interest rates.
I agree.
So I think it's taken some time, right? So it took from 2022, now we're entering 2026. 4 years seems like a long time, but to go from 3% to 6% or 5%, it's going to take a few years. And so I would say that I think that we would have been more optimistic about 2025, but then we had a lot of federal chaos, right? Like we had the elections and however people feel about it, the tariffs and a lot of instability. And I think that instability is starting to wear off. And the shock from the interest rate hike in 2022 is starting to wear off. And so you have people that are starting to say, okay, I can buy now. And so like before, people who were making that jump between the $1 million and the $1.5 million, $1.5 million property, they're like, oh, if I can get something that's a little bit bigger for a little bit more money, then I'll do that. But I think for the last few years, a lot of people haven't done that jump. They're like, okay, maybe we can deal with the 3 bedrooms instead of a 4 bedroom and preserve that 3% interest rate.
Exactly.
Now the kids are getting bigger. And so they're like, all right, now now interest rates have fallen a bit and they've gotten used to the idea of, 5 or 6% interest rate. I think people are ready to buy. When they're ready to buy, then they're ready to sell.
Exactly.
So then you're going to have more inventory, kind of grease those wheels. And so that's what we've been waiting for. I know a lot of agents, and we also have had more sellers come to us in the last few months to say, we really want to go on market. We saw it this past fall. There's a huge bump, relatively huge bump for November, December, which is generally very quiet. A lot of agents were like, these people want to sell suddenly and they need to sell before they can buy. And so we might as well get them sold before they come on the market to buy in March. So people are moving, properties are moving. So.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. One thing is, I think a lot of people, when they talk about real estate, they only focus on the past several years, not the whole. Because I think the whole big picture, like a lot of people ask me, like buyers ask me, is it really worth to buy a condo? I was like, of course, why not? I mean, because condo is not going to appreciate in value as single family. That was after COVID. That was after 2019. Before that 10 years, condo was like crazy. The whole condo market was like crazy. So you cannot just only look at one section of the history. You have to look at the whole thing. And also I think the demand for condo is still there. Because how could we move all of those big companies out of Boston, right? Or Cambridge area, or the schools? There's no way. So the transportation is still horrible.
All of our roads are made by cows.
That's very, very true. That's very, very true.
I think that sometimes people misunderstand what the Boston market really is. And I think that's when people always say, like, why do you need a real estate agent? You need a real estate agent. It's not just finding out what houses are on the market, but really finding what's the right house for you, given your commute, given, your lifestyle. And like, if you have children, if you want to use a public school system. And I find that people who are moving here from overseas or New England,
from other state,
they think that condos are this kind of low end, like an apartment building. They don't understand that the value of housing here. Massachusetts has an incredibly stable housing market. We don't grow in leaps and bounds. We also don't fall in leaps and bounds. And so we grow at 4 to 6% year over year. Very, very, very stable. Whereas when I lived in Los Angeles, like we bought and sold in Los Angeles, you'd go up 15 or 20%, you'd go down 30%, right? Because you had, the roads were good and they were modern. And so you could go out 50 miles and still only add 35 minutes to your commute. You go 50 miles here, you're in Maine. You're like Connecticut. You're not getting to work inside of 3 hours. And so out there, you can start a whole new development, buy things very cheap, right? And then like that development can go from $300,000 for an average home to $600,000 in the course of like 2 years. And then all the business leaves. or the market shifts and it could go back down to 300,000.
Yeah.
Whereas if you buy a $300,000 house in Boston, it's going to go up by that 4 or 6%.
I agree.
But 2008, like when we bought our house, so we were very lucky. But the market literally did not drop for most of Cambridge, most of Boston. It dropped in Brookline by only a small amount. I think it was 4% for 6 months and then right back up. And so there's no point in timing the market, but also don't worry about the market so much. And so condos are going to continue going up. Like everyone who said, oh my gosh, I thought 6 years ago to buy, but then I didn't. I was waiting for something. I was waiting to afford the single family. I was waiting to afford something bigger. Now they're all looking at it and going, oh, had I bought that condo at $600,000, it would now be worth 800, 900,000. And then you take that nest egg and then you do that, the leap to the 1.5 million.
Yeah, I know. Boston real estate market is quite different from other area in the country. It's super, super stable. It's just like basically like you buy a CD.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? In the
it's
bank.
Not going to go up by 20%, but it's also not going to go down.
Right. It's just pretty amazing to see how stable the market is for the past many, many years.
And it's great. I mean, like culturally, I think that it's one of the more integrated cities. There's still segregation in Boston, but you have the universities. They're drawing people from all over the world. We have clients who own multiple houses in other parts of the world. They own a house in London, in New York City, in Hong Kong, and in Singapore, Los Angeles. And once they land in Boston, often for a second home or a fifth home, they will end up buying more houses in Boston because they realize it's a big, small city. It's very walkable. You have these great educational resources. And then because of that, like great arts, the food scene has gotten a lot better in Boston. It's small, so you're within an hour of really like ocean. I mean, we're within like 20 minutes of ocean, skiing, the Berkshires. You're actually not that far. You're 4 hours from New York City driving. You're 5 hours from Montreal, Canada. And so you can escape the country if you need to. But Boston, Logan's a major hub. So you're close to Europe.
We're in a very nice spot.